As an immigrant, when you come to UK, having a qualified status in Nigeria, a license or certification in Nigeria doesn't automatically make you a qualified teacher in the UK.
Of course.
It cannot. UK has their own standard.
Hi everyone. Yeah, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is
Yeah.
officially
Obieze and Lolo.
So we're happy to have you all here on today's episode. Okay, I have Obieze here. He's going to talk to us. Yeah, he's a professional teacher. He said so. So he's going to talk to us about what it means to be a professional teacher. Okay, and having practiced in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom, practice teaching. So today you're going to talk to us about what it feels like being a qualified teacher in Nigeria and what it means being a qualified teacher in the United Kingdom. Okay, so the floor is open to you. So can you tell us the process of becoming a teacher in Nigeria, like qualified teacher in Nigeria? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, teaching is a profession.
Okay.
And you must qualify for you to be a teacher in Nigeria.
Right.
First of all, you go to a university where you will acquire your Bachelor of Science in Education. You can also go to colleges of education where you acquire your NCE. But for you to be a professional licensed teacher, you must be assessed by a governing body called Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. This body will assess you and license you or certify you to be a professional teacher.
Okay.
And with that license, you can have that confidence that you are a professional teacher. Just like a nurse. For you to be a nurse, you must have a license to practice.
Okay,
That is how it is in teaching profession.
That's good.
The license will give you authority to teach wherever you find yourself.
Okay.
So that is about Nigeria. That's the process to be a qualified teacher in Nigeria.
So what you're trying to tell us is it that for you to become a professional teacher in Nigeria, you have to go to university, get your degree, and then, or you go to college of education, get your NCE, right?
That's it.
Okay.
Then I'm licensed by Teachers Registration Council,
which is like TCRN.
And before you become a professional member, you will apply.
Okay.
You apply, they assess you, check everything, and give you the license.
So they give you the license, you automatically become a qualified teacher.
Status, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Then how about the United Kingdom? What do you think makes you a qualified teacher in the United Kingdom?
Yeah, as an immigrant, when you come to the UK, having a qualified status in Nigeria, a license or certification in Nigeria doesn't automatically make you a qualified teacher in the UK.
Of course.
It cannot. UK has their own standard, which you must meet the requirement to become a qualified teacher.
Okay.
But that will not limit you. A qualified teacher, when you come into the UK, you are a qualified teacher.
Okay.
You can get employment as a teacher in the UK with your qualification from Nigeria.
Okay.
But there is limitation. The law requires you to practice at least for 4 years, then you can acquire your qualified teacher status.
Okay.
That qualified teacher status is QTS. That's the short form. When you hear QTS, that's what we mean, qualified teacher status. But when you come into the UK, you apply for teaching jobs. As a professional teacher, you are expected to demonstrate that you are a professional. That demonstration will be shown in your portfolio, your CV. Then, primarily, you must undergo some trainings, especially safeguarding children training.
UK don't play with safeguarding.
You don't tamper with that. You must go to, before you go to any school to teach, whether you are a head teacher or whatever in your country, once you come in here, you must start that safeguarding training from level 1 and above. This because you are going to work in an school environment that is quite different from your own. And the behavior and nature of children, their culture is quite different from your own. So you need to have the knowledge of how to safeguard them, when you even detect, and how to report if there is any abuse, if there is any conflict, if there is anything or fight between children. You cannot just still go and separate them. There's procedure, process to report it, where to report it, and how to report it.
So this is what safeguarding
That's
is.
what safeguarding is all about. How to, it's when children are
Protecting
playing, you must
children.
protect children, safeguarding
And
them.
even from abuse.
Yes, from abuse. Even as a teacher here, you must be too sensitive. Even if you pass through that training, you must be too sensitive. Even a child that just came into the school, maybe has an injury, and that injury was not incurred in the school environment, maybe from home. As a teacher, you will notice that injury. There is also a process you will follow to report that injury against the parents. So it's not just you see a child with, injury or whatever, you say it didn't happen in the school.
So teaching
There is a quite different system here, and that safeguarding must give you that knowledge to be in the system. Then you have to demonstrate that you have knowledge as a teacher. You are familiar with the system. What does that mean? As a teacher, before you get employed, you must pass through interview, and that interview will market you, open opportunity for you. The employer will find out from you that you are competent, you have knowledge of what being a teacher is all about. You have that ability to manage classroom. You will show that you have knowledge in teaching methods and strategies. So these are the things you need to prove to your employer that you are a qualified teacher from your country. And having been satisfied with all this, you will get employment as a teacher and can even practice up to 4 years.
Yeah, you said that.
Up to 4 years before
you can apply for the QTS.
QTS.
Makes sense.
So, but you can also apply before that 4 years, in between, or 2 years after when you must have,
like
being confident enough and
familiarize
go
with
through
system.
the requirements and see that you are qualified.
Okay.
Then you can apply and obtain your QTS. And not that you will just come into the UK and you apply to all the schools, and no. There are schools you cannot teach if you don't have
the QTS.
Oh. And those schools are called maintained schools. They are government funded schools. If you don't have QTS, you don't need there. You must be qualified to get employed as a teacher in those schools. But there are some schools that you don't need QTS.
Okay.
Schools are academy. You don't need QTS.
Because it's special program.
No, you don't need QTS. There are some schools, free schools, you don't need QTS to practice in free schools. And private schools, you don't need
How about the special needs school?
The special needs schools, you must have QTS.
Really?
Yeah, special needs schools are classified as maintained schools.
I've seen you getting like employment.
No, you can teach in those schools as an assistant teacher.
Okay, makes sense now.
Classroom assistant teacher.
Or supervisor.
Or supervisor or cover supervisor. You cannot be the main teacher of the class. Okay. You are assisting someone who has QTS.
Oh, that's good.
So that's why you see opportunities open, being sent. You can only go there as a cover supervisor. You're not the manager of the class. You're not the teacher, the classroom teacher. No.
Until you get your QTS. That's good. So do you think, do you think citizens in the UK have to still pass through all these things? Like, has to pass through all the getting the training and all of that?
Yeah. Like I said, teaching is a professional thing. It's not what you just come in. As an ordinary person, you will see a job vacancy, you apply, you go and teach. No. Even as a UK citizen, you must acquire teacher training.
Okay.
These are specialized trainings. You can acquire it in schools, colleges, or universities. Just like in Nigeria, you will go through education. Your certificate must be BSc in education. Education, input. The teacher training is constructed, is packaged in a way that it opens you up to familiarity in education background. You will have the knowledge, primary, basic knowledge of what education environment is all about. Those teacher training courses can be, online, it gives you experience. So with that training, you can be a teacher, you can be assistant teacher, you can be, cover supervisor or whatever, until you get your QTS. So for you to practice in the UK, you must go through teacher training courses.
But when you are an immigrant, you must not actually go through those teachers training.
No, because you have done it in your country.
In your country,
Yeah.
yeah.
These are the basic level.
So for someone that is like a citizen here, can actually just do the teachers training here, even without the QTS, and still teach.
Yes.
Okay.
So
then apply for the QTS much later. Then as an immigrant, your own is to get your TCRON, like if you did in Nigeria, teachers whatever in the TCRON, and then come over here, do your safeguarding, do your DBS check, and then show competencies that you can actually do. Then that will allow you to teach, right?
Good. So being a citizen here as well, those courses can give you express way to QTS, because some of those courses, they have extension. There are some courses in their package, in their curriculum. After you must have successfully completed the course line, you are automatically qualified to have QTS.
That's great.
So, and some courses as well, when you complete it, you will also be awarded with postgraduate certificate in education or postgraduate diploma certificate in education.
And they still give you the opportunity to teach.
It will give you opportunity to, it's an extension. So, but here as a citizen, you have easy route. And that easy
different
route,
ways.
Yeah, easy route is just to choose a course that at the end you get a QTS.
Okay.
And that makes it very simple.
Or choose a course at the end, you don't want the QTS, you just do your PG. Whatever.
So it's an express way. If you opt for teacher training courses ordinarily, you will do it and have some certificate like NCFE KH1 to level 3. Then you can use it and teach. But for you to acquire your QTS as a citizen, you must have 2 years teaching experience. And 2, you must have qualification in English and Maths. And that will be equivalent to GCSE. That GCSE means General Certification in Secondary Education. GCSE. So it must be the same standard. And if you want to teach in primary schools, the age between 1 and 11, you must have in the same standard physics, chemistry, or biology, science courses, because they don't, at that primary level, they don't play with that science. You must have knowledge of science. And meanwhile, there is no segregation at that level. There is no, this one doing art, this one is doing science. No, at that level, you will, as a primary teacher, you have more work than a secondary teacher. Secondary teacher, you are specialized in some aspect, as a humanity teacher, economics, marketing, or whatever. Primary schools, you will have mastery in all courses, in all subjects. You will be the math teacher. You will be the agriculture teacher. You must be the science teacher.
UK.
Yes. As a primary teacher, you will cover all aspects as a primary school teacher. Yes, just like in Nigeria. You understand?
So do you want to tell me that they still introduce biology, physics, like to students in primary?
Yeah, we call it basic science.
So they introduce, but in Nigeria, you don't introduce biology, physics until they're like special. Like
in Nigeria, it's the same. Listen, in Nigeria, we have general science.
But not like physics.
Even when you come to JS1 and JS2, JS3, you have what we call integrated science, inter-science, what we call inter-science. Why is integrated? Integrated means it's 3 sciences: biology, physics, and chemistry combined. They are integrated. Even in your primary school, we call it general science. You will teach children at basic level, science and technology,
at basic level.
Basic level. So as a primary teacher, you will also have that qualification in science courses, physics, biology, chemistry. So that makes you, unlike secondary. Secondary, you can only show mastery in your specific area.
Whether humanities or science or arts.
But the basic at that level is English and Maths. You must show proficiency and certification, which must be in the same standard with general certificate in secondary education. So, that opens opportunity for you.
That makes sense. So it's quite interesting, like what it takes to be a qualified teacher in Nigeria and in the UK. Okay, so this is it. It is what it is. In everywhere is hard work, but you just get going.
Yeah. In my next video, I'm going to talk about my experience here in the school system. Then you will now know more
what
about it feels like being in an environment where you're not familiar with, and the challenges you're going to encounter
teaching
in place like UK.
So it's actually easy to come to UK and become a teacher.
Yeah, it's very easy. I didn't pass through much hurdles to get employed. Even 4 agencies employed me within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they were sending me to schools.
Some places might not really know. They'll be like, it's hard to. How can you become a teacher?
It's not hard.
Actually easy.
The fact is that the truth is that as a teacher you must be competent.
Yeah.
What I mean by competence is not, you cannot become a teacher through my practice. You got your certificate through my practice, whatever. If you have the opportunity to do my practice, you got your certificate by Magomago or whatever. You cannot demonstrate that. You can get that certificate to build your CV, but when you come to using the certificate, you must use what you have. Your experience must speak. Your knowledge must speak. Your competence must speak. You cannot call somebody to help you do interview. You will be there present to tell the employer what you can do. You defend yourself. You prove to the employer that you can do this. So when they say, this guy is good, this lady is fantastic, this guy, you get employed. There is no shortcut in things like professionalism.
Well, yeah. So it's not just everybody can be a teacher, but it's not everybody that is a teacher.
Yeah,
that is just it.
I love that language. Yeah. You can say it again.
Anybody can be a teacher, but it's not everybody that is a teacher.
That's a good quote. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's so the meaning of whatever.
If you're not a professional, you're not a teacher.
Yeah.
Anything you're doing, you're not a professional in it. You're not. You're just doing it. We are not trying to discourage you from doing it. It's a step. It's actually a step to begin somewhere.
Yes.
But try, in as much as you're trying, keep trying to get your professional qualifications and registrations. Okay, it will give you give you an edge ahead. Okay, that is it. So we're happy to still have you here. This still your lovers.
Obieze and Lola.
Yeah, we love you.
Bye.